matchup against OpTic Gaming and G2 the Green Wall, still looking to tear through the bracket to secure that final spot to the San Diego Major.
And once again, Reddles steps up as the underdog against a mighty G2 squad with everything on the line. Daz, does it sound familiar?
Oh, it does. It absolutely does. The question, though, can they continue to do some of the best Rocket League that they've had this, not even just in this split, their entire careers. AJ's at a career high at goals per game. He's sitting at #1 in the event. Reddles with a career high assists per game and demos per game going into this. And Magic Bear with a season high goals per game and career high octane rating. These guys are playing some of the best Rocket League they've played as they are fighting for their lives to get to the Winter Major. The road continues on, though. They got to take down G2.
OpTic Gaming has literally saved its best for last, perhaps. With all the rumors swirling around this roster coming into this split, who knows what the future holds as that shot rings just a little high. Follow-up from JNaps is on target right at Reddles as JNaps gives G2 the lead.
JNaps always starts off with scoring strikes. We've seen him do it yesterday as well in the series against V1. Scoring in Game 1, good shot placement as always as he sets the tone here in Game 1.
So that first goal less than a minute in, that G2 fans hoping takes the wind right out of the sails of OpTic, but there's AJ, his shot blocked away at point blank range. Mentioned his historic numbers for his career. Player who has been hot and cold more so than a lot of players. JNaps trying to center here. He's got Chicago across the way. That's intercepted by Reddles. And AJ and Magic Bear, same spot at the same time. That's usually a recipe for disaster. Drop down to Atomic, and Reddles interfered. Now AJ quickly the other way, can't get onto this, but Magic Bear can. And he's just gonna play that deep into the G2 zone and give them something to think about.
Got to keep an eye out on Magic Bear. He's been having a great performance this weekend. Can he continue to stay at that level? But also keep an eye out for AJ and Reddles too. Again, everyone from OpTic have been surging. It's G2, even with their win yesterday, going Game 7 against a version 1 team that was struggling all split long, they don't look unbeatable. I think OpTic knows that.
Oh, that's dangerously close to the net, almost by accident. As Reddles has to get around AJ to try and get after this ball. Now Magic Bear, no pinch. And it's brought right back into AJ. JNaps had that ball right in his lap, and Reddles bails out OpTic Gaming this time. Another opportunity, though, for G2 as they keep the pressure on. JNaps again, just pounding the backboard. Nobody there to follow up, so Chicago will get it at midfield, and this OpTic squad still trailing by just a goal. They've taken some of G2's best shots and repelled most of them, except that one from JNaps. Reddles can't get around JNaps this time. Of course, JNaps and Reddles have had plenty of clashes throughout their career, 10 times in the RLCS, 12 if you want to count the grid. Back during RLCSX, they are 500 against each other as AJ goes past Atomic and Chicago lobs one right back in. OpTic cannot get out of the zone for very long.
Reddles no stranger to being a part of a Cinderella story, so to speak, as he gives a pass to AJ, who almost was able to reach out. JNaps, a great cutout. How much more magic is left on the side of OpTic? G2 pushing through. Atomic gets a demo, a bump. Chicago's the one with the demo on Reddles, but AJ clutch to make sure that doesn't turn into a scoring opportunity.
Atomic will dump this right back in. The pressure continues to mount, not just on the field, but mentally as well for OpTic. Giving up that early goal can be very deflating as Magic Bear just jumped in front of Atomic to grab that corner boost and prevent the starve. Now Reddles, flip, reset, trying to create a lot. Didn't have much to work with. Magic Bear trying to dive bomb onto one and just got around Chicago. It's still available, but AJ can't add to his ridiculous tally in this tournament. He dropped from 1.64 goals per game down to 1.35 just because he didn't score at a superhuman pace yesterday. He is still far and away #1 in the event.
Yep, still OpTic here, they look strong even though they're down right now, right? G2 lead by 1 in the final minute, but OpTic have still been putting up the shots. They have been out shooting G2. Magic Bear with 5 shots of his own, and the pressure looks great from them. So a good opening game, and they have been, I would even say, getting even more settled on that offensive front as the game goes on, but not much time left in game 1. We're hitting that 30-second mark. OpTic need to make something happen here if they want to start this series off high.
Been a very patient attack out of OpTic Gaming, but now they've got to throw everything at G2. JNAP's double tap just off the mark. Reynolds, all he can do is watch it. And now Magic Bear up ahead to AJ. Reynolds trying to get involved in the play. Not happening. Now JNAPS rolls away from AJ. That's got to be the key. Play keep away from the hottest player in the tournament. But now Chicago trying to get back across Reynolds. AJ to Reynolds for the tie. Blocked out in front. And one last chance for OpTic. Almost falls by the wayside. Reynolds keeping it alive, but always made a mess of things. That demo on AJ doesn't help, and G2 hangs on for game 1.
And now G2 get things rolling. Again, this squad definitely trying to secure a their first regional victory of this split. And they've been continuing to press forward still with that solid offense. I mean, G2's coming down. They're giving us everything that we've expected here, but it's really OpTic Gaming who's been playing it close. Go back to yesterday, same thing, same situation for OpTic in the case of where version 1 was, where again, G2 is going to run through the motions. They're going to play their game. They're going to play their play style. But for OpTic Gaming, remaining locked in mentally, as you have so much on the line, you control your own destiny. It's important to stay just focused up and playing the best Rocket League you are in these very intense matches.
And it's very important to note, not just for the immediate short term here with the major on the line for OpTic, a lot of other interested parties when we get towards the spring, because OpTic winning this series alone would guarantee them passage into the main event in the Spring Open. That would bump some teams out into the closed qualifiers, particularly NRG. And then if OpTic goes on to somehow win this whole thing and qualify for the major, Dignitas and NRG would play a tiebreaker for the last spot in the Spring Open. That's, of course, way down the line. There's a lot of immediate business here between G2 and OpTic, and Atomic looking for another early goal for G2. There's Magic Bear just throwing it downfield and forcing Chicago to chase.
More fight coming out from OpTic in game 2 as Reynolds tries to force the issue there from JNAPS. AJ will leave it for Magic Bear, puts a quick shot on G2's net. Atomic there with the save out. Good pressure off the opener, but G2 is really the most dangerous when you get them on the counterattack. AJ, though, able to weather the storm, gets taken out for his efforts, and Magic Bear will go up across. Reynolds was there to read it, but JNAPS has had a mark on Reynolds. He's got to deny at least 3 of these shot opportunities.
Oh, he's not going to deny this one. It's going to be Atomic that has to. Reynolds got through him, and JNAPS just ahead of Magic Bear. And now AJ can only slow down G2. JNAPS given all the time and space in the world, and AJ just goes right over top of him and forces G2 back to their own back line. This has been actually a much better looking attack out of OpTic. They've been a little bit quicker this time around, but they still have not breached the G2 defense. Magic Bear just watching as that goes over his head from JNAPS. And AJ can't stay with this play, so Magic Bear has to throw it across.
A lot of preparation from OpTic Gaming going into this one. And definitely, I think I saw Reynolds streaming late at night last night, knowing that you have G2, which is a titan of a team, having to come out and you're using all the tape, all the knowledge here. And it's the semifinals matchup. They've been looking good so far as they pick up one. Magic Bear is going to catch G2 lacking, and OpTic with the lead.
And a low 5 as well with Reynolds, who technically gets the assist on this, so he continues his great tournament. And Magic Bear getting the first goal for OpTic Gaming in this series, averaging 4 goals per series, a season high here. And not too far off his career high, which came back in the Torrent days, as Reynolds will bank one out towards Chicago. And Atomic had that deflect off of Magic Bear. Could be trouble for OpTic, but Reynolds with a lot of pressure. AJ makes the save on a blistering shot from Chicago. And it's AJ to pop downfield again, going right at the G2 defense, but they are not bending much. They only got caught out one time, and when OpTic kind of has these more sustained possessions, they haven't been able to get what we call a legit shot off as Atomic rolls one through. He had 8 assists and didn't score until the end of Game 7 yesterday. He is on the board early here in Game 2.
Look at that. Great shot from Atomic. Magic Bear did get a piece of it, but his car was just a little too high, so it just slightly rolls past him, not able to get enough power to push that out of the goal line. And they give up one here. Notice, too, as well, when Atomic scores the game winner, I know a lot of G2 analysts noticing him on the Fennec today versus the Octane yesterday. Something to keep an eye on as this one all tied up. We're looking towards that bottom half now. G2 really trying to put on the pressure.
Magic Bear will start the counterattack here with AJ. Up in the air early, couldn't get the flip reset off. Magic Bear, close, but no cigar. And Atomic will send this away.
G2 taking this one slow. Nice 52. Atomic keeping that one really just on the ground. He had 0 boost to work with, so it was the best option there. Gained some ground, but chance here for a counter. Magic Bear in the midfield. Reynolds was a little late, so JNAP's got a 50 on the play. JNAP's again another 50, but there's some bumps on the play. Very awkward here for G2, but Chicago has enough space and time to at least clear this out in the midfield before AJ tries to put it back in. AJ playing it low. Atomic, though, with a great readout. It was so close. A lot of these plays on the ball. It's been great challenges from both sides, but G2 finally with a breakaway.
Oh, Magic Bear couldn't quite get to that, so now AJ's got to deal with it in the corner. It rolls out along the ceiling for Magic Bear. He'll play it along further, trying to get the dunk on JNAPS, but he ran out of juice. And now it's JNAPS with Chicago and Atomic both involved in the play behind him. Atomic doesn't have Chicago to pass to, so he's got to call an audible, take it himself, and gets knocked into the ball to get the clear. Reynolds with that save. AJ needs one more to get across the center line. He's got it. Now Magic Bear with AJ downfield trying to interfere, and it's not happening as Atomic credited with a save way up high.
AJ can turn on this. Race against JNAPS. He gets there to put a shot on, forcing the save out. Chicago, great clearing as well. Straight to JNAPS. Gonna give G2 some space. Magic Bear with the 50 in the sky, 30 seconds remaining, and no team has really broken, I say that, but JNAPS to the top left, giving G2 the lead.
JNAPS on the left side of the field just seems like the best player in the world. It seems like he scored all of his goals from right around that area. And now he's given G2 a 2-1 lead late in Game 2. Almost certainly a timeout coming for OpTic if they drop this game as well in heartbreaking fashion. Atomic blocked that. AJ tried to pass it out, but Magic Bear was on the side. Reynolds is too far forward. Timing just not there right now for OpTic. Now they've only got 10 seconds to work with. Reynolds got to catch up to this. He barely does. What can they do to create, though? AJ up ahead. Reynolds is there. Atomic makes sure it goes to the corner. Chicago to the ground, not quite. Magic Bear doing all he can to keep this in the air, and it's not enough. JNAPS grounds it again, and G2 again gets OpTic by a goal.
This time G2 strike late as well, just kind of a lapse in rotation from OpTic. JNAPS came in with that top left shot. Oh, goodness gracious, shot. Shocking.
Easy for you to say.
OpTic Gaming, I know, right? And of course, yeah, we do see timeout coming out from OpTic here. So, I mean, kind of similar as we've seen from version 1 to G2. Yep. G2 started off early, forcing a timeout. The only difference is that G2 are starting to activate more offensively a little bit later on in the game. We're not seeing these long overtimes, and it is up to OpTic here to kind of slow things down because now you've lost 2 of your lives. You only have 2 more. You have to get things under control, and this is a perfect time to talk things over.
What OpTic Gaming is trying to accomplish, the desk kind of touched on this, especially during the pre-show, has never been done in this era here of the RLCS. They came in tied for 14th alongside Shopify Rebellion, sitting on just 11 points coming in, or rather actually 8 points without the 3, of course, for just making the event. And they are trying to make it into the major where, again, nobody outside the top 6 going into the final regional in NA has qualified for the major. Endpoint did it last spring as the number 8 team going into that 3rd regional. They finished 3rd to leapfrog over the likes of Vitality and Solary to claim that spot. See if OpTic can turn things around now as we look back at the Mobile One high performance replay, and that strike right there from JNaps, as he's been a thorn in OpTic Gaming's side. You wonder if OpTic can find an answer for the wily veteran Mr. Nap. We'll find out here with about 30 seconds left in this timeout. You know, for Chicago in this series, only the one assist. He's been kind of their leading scorer throughout most of this season, and he's been quiet. That gives me cause for concern if I'm an OpTic fan, because they're beating us without Chicago just going off.
And there are a lot of OpTic fans today. I've seen people online just saying, well, our team's out. We are now green wall fans, giving them all the energy. Is it enough? We'll find out here, but you're absolutely right with that note from Chicago. He has been quiet, still could surge the latest. He actually comes through and makes a big save that could have stopped an early OpTic goal here in game 3.
And there is no clear game plan for taking down a team like G2. You can't just isolate somebody and say, all right, we got to make somebody else beat us. Because OpTic has even proven very capable of lighting up the scoreboard. Even though he's primarily an assist guy, he may get one here. Chicago rolls one almost on target and just sent away by Reynolds. Now JNaps back into the corner, trying to get AJ out of the play. Magic Bear will chase this down, and AJ's got that easily from the back wall, but he kind of gave it away to OpTic. OpTic looking to center again, and he could not. So now AJ gets around JNaps. Still can't breach the center line, though. Chicago keeps that in. And now Red, I mean, everybody's just kind of jammed up in the corner right now for OpTic. Finally, Magic Bear can get this across the center line. Can they at least stay there now and maybe get a couple decent looks? No, they can't.
Have to back out. You see Reynolds pushing this off to the side. Chicago, what's he going to do? Pass over. OpTic is there. And they're all just kind of waiting. No real aggressive attack coming out from G2 currently. They throw the ball up to OpTic, see how OpTic play it, and then they try to adjust here. As they realize, the position they're in the series, and they don't want to overextend, especially here on the offense. The defense from G2 has been very solid. We saw it even yesterday. OpTic had some amazing saves there against version 1, especially in that second game. So we know that they can stop an onslaught of shots, which they have been doing this series as well.
A lot of mental game going on right now between these two squads, seeing some fake challenges and wide turns, everybody changing speeds, and now I think G2 starting to settle in here after maybe a kind of a timid start to this game, wondering what OpTic was going to throw at them, as you mentioned. Now Magic Bear has given that one away to Chicago. G2 trying to kind of put a sleeper hold on this series. That's going to go a little bit wide, and a chance now for AJ. Full tank of boost that pinches off of OpTic, and then Magic Bear taken out by JNaps, and that kills off the OpTic attack again. Chicago up high, and Magic Bear there to meet him on the respawn.
Oh, good win too from Magic Bear. Look at OpTic, he has to go up for this. Pitches it out. Demo from Chicago. All the OpTic fans, everyone who's believing in this run, are trying to figure out when is this team going to activate. They've known the potential. They've known all split long. They've known all season long. They haven't seen it yet, but G2 continues to test their mettle. Chicago now getting on the scoreboard.
Activate this. Reynolds, before he even realizes Chicago has a look at it, just could not recover. Inside the halfway mark now in game 3. G2's got another lead. AJ gotta go to work. Magic Bear has the only goal, and really was off a challenge. This is Reynolds from midfield to Magic Bear. Why not? Got through. It's still available, and JNaps an acrobatic clear. Oh, that was the chance for OpTic. A rare G2 mistake, and they can't capitalize.
Yeah, I mean, even when OpTic have had offense, this game especially, someone's always getting demoed on that back end with their second or third man, which forces a complete switch up in how they're moving around the field. They've been able to navigate it, but they need a little more chance there. There's a bump, but JNaps again is shutting the door on OpTic Gaming.
And Magic Bear can't push this over the bar. Chicago credited with a second goal, and G2 just tightening their hold on this series even more.
We saw AJ hand on the head there. Frustration is starting to settle. Have OpTic checked out. 1:32 to go. And an unfortunate mistake from Magic Bear makes this job a lot harder. G2 has made it clear. If you want to get to the major, you want to get through us, you are going to have to earn it.
G2 tried to reach a grand final and win a grand final. That one's just wide. Chicago will score, and OpTic have fallen apart here at DFH Stadium.
JNaps, again, additional pressure. Another misread from Magic Bear on that one. Chicago will clean it all up, and it's getting out of control. 3-goal lead, 1:13 left. OpTic's backs are against this green wall. Can they break through?
I mean, Magic Bear has been by far the closest to scoring at all in this series for OpTic Gaming. This goes out to the corner. Chicago come alive in this game after having only 1 assist through the first couple of games. He's got a hat trick now. JNaps out to the wing. More time off the clock as G2 seem quite content now. Well in control of this game, and more importantly, this series. Magic Bear trying to interfere with Atomic, get any kind of offense. JNaps, cheeky shot there, sent away by AJ, who has just been relegated to defense at this point. We have not seen the pop-off from AJ that we've seen all throughout this event. To be fair, he hadn't really faced the stiffest of opposition. FaZe Clan, of course, comes to mind. After that, you're looking at teams like Shopify Rebellion, not G2. And that's what OpTic has to contend with now. By far their biggest test of the tournament, and they are struggling against a G2 squad that is not interested in fairy tales.
And even that last second play shut down. Big win for G2. OpTic only were able to put up 4 shots, and every single time G2 was able to shut it down right in front of the door. On the other side of things, Chicago shooting 50%. He scored all 3 goals out of 6 shots himself. Just the offense was completely there for G2. Frustration started to settle in for OpTic towards the end, which even caused more mistakes. And now it's down to the last life.
1 life remains. Down 0-3 in a best of 7. We've seen stranger things, but this G2 squad looks determined to take their spot in the grand finals of the North American Winter Invitational. Sathu all smiles. Will it continue after this 5 minutes on Utopia? Is this the final resting place for OpTic Rocket League? It's Magic Bear for AJ up ahead. Got to get on the same page some way, somehow, but it's JNaps that'll just twirl through the air and take all the air out of the ball.
OpTic have to leave it all out there. G2 will take no prisoners in this series. They've let that be very obvious, but here's a chance. AJ gets it. OpTic Gaming start this one off with the lead.
Finally, somebody else from OpTic gets one. Chicago got caught out at midfield. Very tough read defensively coming off that post. Will it kind of turn in or not? AJ was all over it. So OpTic's got the lead. Still got a lot of work to do here. 4.5, just under to go here in game 4. A game they must win to prolong their life. Magic Bear out to the wing. Defensively, it's coming on, just a little off, and AJ out towards Reynolds. He can't go for it. Couldn't get a piece of it coming off the side either. G2, it's almost like you're just waiting for them to break down the OpTic green wall. Maybe
Bear.
it's G2 that breaks down. Magic Bear posting in, and here comes OG.
Couple of breakaways here. G2 get a little too comfortable. Magic Bear able to push that one in off the post and in. And for the first time, we've seen OpTic with a 2-goal lead.
Still 4 minutes. It feels like you're waiting for G2. You know they're going to get their shots, and there it is. Chicago, who's come alive over the last 6 minutes.
Look at this, Chicago, he takes the mid boost, just immediately forces this one through, plays it off of Reynolds' car, and then gets that challenge dunk. I mean, solid placement there on that 50 game. G2 within one.
They add another, or when will they add another? That's kind of the question when you look at this G2 squad, the way they've been going in this event. OpTic quickly out towards JNAPS, who's running interference. Chicago can't get around AJ, and Magic Bear after Reynolds. Only OpTic to beat. JNAPS is not going to catch up, and Reynolds will score his first.
Yeah, Reynolds read this one perfectly. I mean, it was a risky play there for JNAPS to stay in so long. OpTic was hanging out on the wing. Reynolds realized he caught him. OpTic did get a piece of it, but he was too little too late. OpTic regained that 2-goal lead. Still plenty of time, though, in this game. 3:31 here. It's a lot for OpTic if they are able to hold on here against G2. I mean, this is a team that ramps up, especially as closer to when that clock hits 0. They get it right back here with a quick play.
I just can't pull away from this squad. They refuse to go away. AJ did all he could. It's a mess in front of the net. OpTic finds the soft spot in the defense, and they're right back within one. 5 goals in just over 90 seconds of action.
Comes down to that composure as well. Being able to remain composed in front of the net. You know G2 can put on a lot of pressure, so the communication has to be on point.
I think they've got to know that Magic Bear is not leaving anything on the field at this point. He is going to bring it every time. The problem is he couldn't catch up to this, and OpTic will tie the game. And again, G2 finding ways to break OpTic's heart.
I mean, it's a demo, and it's a good read on the situation from OpTic. He knows he has Magic Bear caught out. He knows AJ's on the wall, and he knows someone's coming back from the demo. All he has to do is put it on net. Good read from OpTic on that situation. It brings G2 back into this game. OpTic had a 2-goal lead here, and it's diminished in less than a minute.
Chicago. JNAPS will bump it back over to him. OpTic will turn around at midfield. He's now going to circle back in, and AJ with the save. We've seen G2 kind of forced forward a lot into the OpTic zone, and OpTic haven't been able to deal with that pressure. Now OpTic battling with AJ. We'll get this out around Magic Bear. Drop it down for Chicago, and the Grim Reaper strikes again.
The defense on the backboard feels kind of non-existent. Magic puts a hand up. Reynolds goes next. No one can stop OpTic as he puts it in the middle, and Chicago just has to tap it in. G2 are doing an excellent job of working around OpTic, and they are falling apart brick by brick. They need to get it together.
JNAPS just barely recovering from the kickoff to stop that kickoff goal effort. AJ trying to work his magic, and he just can't, so now it's on the Bear. He's got it out at the wing. Reynolds with the demo on. OpTic double tap, not there. JNAPS with the save, and Chicago lining one up, and AJ had it read the whole way. Opportunity now with Magic Bear. Gonna have to do it himself as Reynolds went off for that midfield boost. And OpTic has all day to play this. Reynolds hanging around at midfield. He'll bring it back into the zone. But now it's OpTic that has to play from behind for the first time in this game. But it's been a familiar spot all series long. JNAPS kept it going forward, and AJ keeps OpTic alive. Oh, he went for that midfield boost. It was taken away, and then JNAPS scores. Oh, AJ went for boost over ball, it looked like.
Yeah, even AJ's frustrated at that one. Look at this though. OpTic on a dime to JNAPS. JNAPS to the top left. How do you stop a team that can create a play like that off of a snap? G2 were ready for that.
A creative kickoff here from OpTic, and boy, has that just blown up in their face, literally. AJ respawns at least right where the ball was headed, so he could get onto it quickly. Started out with a 2-goal lead, and since then it's been all downhill. Reynolds just boom it downfield. Desperation time now for OpTic Gaming with everything going against them. JNAPS over Magic Bear, and he's got to bring this all the way back to the back wall where Reynolds can play to AJ. Took his time here, let it bounce first, and now Magic Bear. He's got to come through. It's back central, but nobody else is there. AJ couldn't get around on it. And back into the zone they go with less than 45.
Oh, Chicago could kill a lot of time on the clock. A good chance from AJ to get that out. JNAPS will play it off the back wall. No need to really put shots on. They're up by 2. They can just continue to play this off the back wall and kill so many of OpTic's potential opportunities. Chicago played that off the sidewall to JNAPS. 20 seconds remaining. And G2 saying that Fairy Tale is just that at this point. So dominant here in game 4.
Gotta get downfield quickly, and they're not going to. Down to the final 5 seconds. G2, the Fun Police have arrived. There will be no miracle comeback from OpTic Gaming. G2 headed to the finals.